Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Wall Street, robber barons, and aristocrats are popping champagne this Monday morning as they are ready and excited for Kamala Harris. And clearly, the Democratic Party and its media allies are creating a coronation for Vice President Harris and a fake competition that all but knights her and bestows the crown on her head as the Democratic nominee. Let's show you Wall Street's reaction, which is very positive, which should say it all. Wall Street Democrats are lining up behind Kamala Harris with a mixture of relief and genuine enthusiasm for a politician many of them supported in 2020. Finance executives, money, and convening power between now and the Democratic convention will be key to Harris's plan to, quote, earn and win. Yes, she's quite earning and winning her party's nomination. Several donors said Sunday they were prepared to break out checkbooks that had sat untouched since Joe Biden's debate performance. Among those expected to aid Harris's bid for the nomination are Centerview's Blair Efron, Blackstone's Jonathan Gray, Lazard's Peter Orszag and Ray McGuire, Paul Weiss's Brad Karp, and Evercore's Roger Altman. 100% in, one donor said Sunday afternoon. The corporate media will not tell you anything about those donors. I sure will. If you want to know anything about Centerview and Blair Efron, just look at who they like to hire. Rahm Emanuel to bring the subtlety of Chicago politics to boutique investment banking. After 8 years, this was in 2019, after 8 years of trying to run Chicago, Rahm Emanuel is reportedly looking to rub elbows with a new class of people who are totally not criminals. Former Chicago mayor and longtime Democratic operative Rahm Emanuel will join boutique investment bank Centerview Partners, LLC, bringing a Rolodex built over a 30-year political career. So, what do you get for covering up the police assassination of Laquan McDonald and basically being a corrupt Chicago mayor? You get to join a Wall Street boutique firm at the behest of one of Wall Street's biggest donors to the Democratic Party, Mr. Blair Efron. And there's plenty on Blair Efron, but I figured, why don't we just show who they like to hire? So they hired corrupt Rahm Emanuel. Then we go to Blackstone's Jonathan Gray, who is apparently stoked to hire, for Kamala Harris to be knighted as the Democratic nominee. This is just an article from In These Times. 3 reasons to be worried about the Blackstone Group and their friend Hillary Clinton. This from 2016. Buried among the thousands of John Podesta's emails released over the last week, you'll find a short, revealing exchange between Hillary Clinton, campaign chair John Podesta, and Neera Tanden, president of the Center for American Progress and Clinton advisor in waiting. I saw John Gray today, Podesta wrote. We both sang your praises. He wrote to Neera Tanden. He's really a good guy, Tanden replies. And given he will take over Blackstone, one to develop a real relationship with. Podesta and Tanden were talking about Jonathan Gray, the global head of real estate and member of the board of directors of the Blackstone Group, a Wall Street private equity firm that is now the largest single owner of real estate in the entire world. And oh, by the way, they're slumlords. After the housing crash left millions of U.S. homeowners underwater, Blackstone swooped in and lined its pockets for the misery of ordinary Americans. As homeownership rates have dipped, Blackstone, through its subsidiary Invitation Homes, has become the largest owner of single-family rental homes in the country. By the way, this was in 2016, so it's only gotten worse since then. Wall Street is also excited, coming from Lazard's Peter Orszag. Well, if you want to know anything about Peter Orszag, who, by the way, served in the Obama administration, well, right after banks like Citibank tanked the global financial economy, Peter Orszag decided to take a senior job with Citibank, reportedly for several $1 million. Oh, the patriotism from Wall Street that will now be flooding money to Kamala Harris. Oh, you want anything else? Need anything else? Well, here's a little bit about Brad Karp of Paul Weiss, who is also mentioned as one of the Wall Street heavyweights that is popping champagne for Kamala Harris. It's one of the few things predictable on Wall Street, an immutable signature on the reply briefs whenever Citigroup is charged with fraud. fraud, and that is quite often Brad Karp, a partner with the 737 attorney strong Wall Street law firm Paul Weiss, has been Citigroup's go-to guy for fraud allegations since the company was born out of the too-big-to-fail merger of Traveler Group's insurance, its myriad Wall Street investment banks, brokerage units, and Citigroup, parent of Citibank. When the London-based private equity firm Terra Firma claimed it had been lied to and defrauded by Citigroup, making it overpay for the purchase of EMI, a British music label, in 2007, Karp and colleagues wrung an 8-0 decision from the jury in favor of Citigroup. Karp was also on hand to witness victory when the trustee for the bankrupt Italian dairy giant Parmalat charged Citigroup with fraud. Then there were fraud charges connected to Citigroup's involvement in the collapse of WorldCom and Enron, along with auction rate securities, rigged stock research, and understanding its exposure to subprime debt by $39 billion. Karp, and more Karp. He's defending those righteous crooks on Wall Street and happily going to give Kamala Harris plenty of money. This from the New York Times. Democratic billionaires and donors rush to back Harris after Biden's exit. Advisors and major givers said they were being inundated with enthusiasm and plans for donations to support Miss Harris if she wins the nomination. Democratic donors are immediately mobilizing around Kamala Harris as their party's next presidential nominee, offering Democratic elites something they have not felt in weeks: optimism. Oh, thank God we have to give optimism and hope back to the plutocrats who have purchased the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, by the way. Let's not let the Republicans off the hook. So, as the media and the Democratic Party gaslight you on the history and the historic nature of this candidacy, yes, she will be potentially the first woman president, potentially the first Black woman president, first Asian American or South Asian American president. This is nothing will fundamentally change 2.0. Make no mistake. Just with a more historic, articulate, cognitively cogent message. Nothing will change. She's supposed to speak this morning. We'll have reaction to that later. I'll be listening and watching. Let's see if she says anything about raising the minimum wage, anything about a public option, anything about universal basic income, anything about declaring a climate emergency, anything on policy versus Donald Trump is a fascist and democracy is on the line. If it's the latter, which I think it will be, expect a rerun of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, which obviously worked out so well for the Democratic Party and America.